liturgical role that is theirs by their baptism, and then the witness they give to society by the good work that they do, the acts of charity and love that they show forth, which come from their faith. Those things, I think, are strong in our country, and they themselves are the most important things. And I think the areas of tension that exist can be met by goodwill on both sides and, as they say, structures of communication and dialogue. With regard to the sisters, the Holy See has, indeed, under my prefectship as prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, has notified the leadership, one leadership group of the sisters in our country of some problems that we think ought to be looked at, and we've assigned a delegate, one of the archbishops, Archbishop Peter Sarton of Seattle, to work with them in identifying and correcting these issues. There is no criticism, no general criticism that I am aware of on the part of the Vatican or in part of the Church in the United States of sisters as a group. The religious sisters have provided enormous, historically enormous work in education and charities and care of the sick, and we're all very indebted to them. So that would be, I think, something important for me to say, that there is a tension with certain positions taken by one of the leadership groups of a large number of the sisters, but it doesn't apply to sisters across the board.
Your Eminence, Carolyn Tyne with ABC 7. You talked a little bit about your considerations when you go into the conclave, and I'm wondering if you also think about the growing areas of Catholicism, Latin America and Africa. Does that come into play at all in the decision making? And kind of an aside to that, I'm wondering, is there a feeling that you have of excitement, or is it overlaid, outweighed by the heavy responsibility?
Well, yeah, it's there's an excitement, of course. Somebody that, like me, that does something quite unique and something so important for the Church, I have to be excited about it, but I also feel very, very much the responsibility that collectively we have as cardinals, and which I will share during the election. With regard to the needs of the Church, the different cultural situation, Africa, Latin America, Asia certainly, Middle East has its own series of problems with those historic churches that come down from the time of Christ's own generation. So all of those things, I think, will play a part in this. Is the person we're considering knowledgeable about those needs, and is he sensitive to them? And I don't think it's as I said, it's my first time, so I wouldn't imagine they come in with, here's my program for being Pope, and in fact that's specifically forbidden in the Apostolic Constitution, which has some things that I wasn't aware of. I must say, I went through it, but those ever since the expansion, geographical expansion, initiated under Pope Pius XII after the Second World War, for the nomination of bishops, cardinals in Africa, Latin America, we see the globalization, if you will, of the Church in many respects that we had not seen before. I'm an example of it. I'm not from Africa or Latin America, but coming from the United States, 50, 60 years ago, there were almost no non-Italians, a few from other European countries, workers at any level in the Roman Curia. That's changed completely. Almost every dicastery has more non-Italians than Italians, and it works pretty well. So I think that I think that the influence, the presence of these cardinals from these various places, even though they are not as numerous as the Italian cardinals, they will have a great impact on making sure that the needs that you refer to are present among us electors.
There.
Thank you, Cardinal, for doing this. I'm Mark from San Jose Mercury News. I'm talking about the diversity of the church. I was curious what your thoughts are on the chance of an American being Pope. And the second question, also, if you could talk a little bit about your personal relationship with Pope Benedict. It sounds like you were surprised like everyone else.
Thank you. Well, I don't know what the Las Vegas odds makers are saying today. That changes, I understand, every day. I'm not. Some people who follow that are telling me, well, now so and so. It's here's the pecking order, and so. But I don't think it's likely that we will see an American pope, and I say that for this reason. It would be an additional complexity for an American pope to have to deal with the perception that some of his decisions, practical prudential judgments and so forth, might be perceived to be dictated by American governmental policy. And that would be a problem, I think, for the church in the rest of the world. Now, we, of course, know that we're always upstanding and have only the best intentions and so forth, but other people don't perceive that. We may see that, in the movies and various things. But I think that is a factor in my consideration. On the other hand, if an American pope is elected, provided it's not me, I will be there to give him my obedience and support him in any way I can. Now, the other thing is about, what was it, the Pope?
Your personal relationships, as he was mentioned, right?
Yeah. Well, we work together. I would like to say we're friends. I mean, you can say we're certainly friendly. I'm not a personal friend of his. We don't get together to go to movies or just to kind of sit around and discuss book reviews, but I have seen him a lot over my years, and especially in these past years. As I say, almost every week I had an hour-long scheduled meeting with him, because the work of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith requires decisions that he makes in certain matrimonial cases, in questions of the dispensation of priests, and of course in the major questions involving faith and morals that come through that's our primary goal, is to promote the doctrine of the faith and to guard it, to safeguard it. So there's always those questions that come up. And he's a man that, when I knew him in these other, on the Catechism Commission, for example, he's a kind, balanced, good listener, has a gift of synthesis about summing up the discussion of a meeting, 25 different viewpoints. Some of them may have been similar, but he puts them all together into a package, and you're proud of the contribution that he says you made, because you didn't think it was as perhaps as focused as he graciously makes it. He has so many good qualities, and I think the church will miss him. I will certainly miss him very much as our Pope. But I hope that this time, this hidden time, as he calls it, won't be so hidden that we can't see him once in a while, and have occasions to continue to know him and to benefit from his rich background and intellectual and spiritual gifts.
But when you said, as long as it's not me, were you suggesting that you would not wish to be Pope yourself?
That's right.
Could you amplify on that first?
I don't think so. Not here.
Okay.
This gentleman wants to say something
The
too.
mic? There's somebody right there, too. Yeah, this person hasn't spoken yet. And then you're next.